pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Rachel.
Chapman?
Here.
Hart? Here. Butler?
Here.
Patton?
Here.
Tyler? Zona? Rucker?
Here. Need a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting?
I'll support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Motion to approve the minutes of the April 12th, 2017 regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public comment? 3 minutes? Yes, sir.
I'm a stranger in town partially. I've had property near Central Lake out on Blueview Lane, off of Shady Nook since the 30s. But I live in Harrison right now, and I'm on the city council, and we are also a rising tide town. Once I heard Central Lake won it, I said, I have to come up and say congratulations, just because I have ties up here. I also bring gifts from the city of Harrison. On the way up here, it's about a 2-hour trip by myself. I had plenty of time to think about what I was going to say tonight, and I just want to say that our two towns are very, very similar. We have a lake in our town, you have a lake in your town. Cross section of from poor to fairly wealthy, a good school district, and a progressive city council and city manager, I assume. I just want to say congratulations, and anything that Harrison can do to help. We're about twice the size you are. You have a little less than 1,000 people, from what I can say, and we're about 21,000. So, if not 2,100, excuse me. But it's just my feeling is that I want to say thank you. So, if I could, I would like to present you last year, and I don't know when Central Lake was established as a town, but last year we were 125 years old, and there is a huge auto traveling tour that goes up Old 27, and they stop in our town, and that was also the 10th year that they stopped. So we had a big deal. So I have some cozies for each of you that represent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not done yet. I'm going to prize you. I tried to be here early, but I looked at the clock that hadn't been changed. So I'm about an hour late from my things here. Here's a water bottle with one of our pens in it. We get these water bottles through a grant for saving the water, teaching the kids how to, not pour oil on the ground and things like that. We're going to have a walk-through tunnel we have a street fair in August, and a fishing derby, and a golf game on the lake in the winter. But I'm more involved with the street fair, with the cars, and we're going to have a walk through. It's like a tunnel, but it shows the earth above it. which is part of this grant. And again, I just want to say thank you. I don't mean to interrupt your meeting.
Not a problem, thank you very much.
Like I said, my cottage is behind Arb Dawson. I will assume most of you know Arb. We have a couple 100 acres there. And,
Well, if you want to move into town, I'm sure we can find room for you.
I'm a retired school teacher, so I could ramble on, so I will go sit
We know
down.
how that is. Wow, we're starting early.
Isn't Heckman a retired school teacher?
Alan? Yes, he is. He's out of the village now.
Yeah, but he has property
Yep,
that my son bought some from.
okay,
That's part of our 200.
very good, thank you.
All right, thank you.
You bet. That's a first. Any other public comment? On top of that? Scott, police report?
You gotta get paid for your work.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hopefully everybody got a chance to look at the report. Statistically wise, it's probably the busiest month I've had since I've been here, so we are keeping really, really busy. You'll see part of the reason for getting busy is the ordinance issues. Had a chance to talk to a couple of you about that. We have probably about 400 parcels in town. We sent out 33 notices. Out of those 33 notices, we are down to about 8 that still are not compliant, so we're still working on them. The only one issue we had with somebody being vocal about it, we kind of somewhat resolved that. So I think out of 33, we only had one person that was a little upset about it. So we're still making progress. As the summer progresses, if others decide they want to be back on that list, we'll put them back on the list and we'll continue to take care of that. So nothing else I can think of other than just a lot of stuff, paperwork. So any questions?
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Sam?
You all should have a copy of my DPW report. We run out of agendas, so by now I forgot what I even put on it. Any questions? No, I'm good.
Street sweeper works, right?
Pardon?
The street sweeper still works?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We started picking up. We got about 15, probably 15 yards picked up so far.
Any other questions?
On number 3 there, there's a new post, they're putting some new, the Lions Club, Masonic Lodge, and Vets, DFW, they're putting in some new welcome organizational signs, that's what the new poster is for. And Sam's been putting them in as they come in from the different organizations.
Anything else?
Hey Sam, when are the LED lights going to be?
I'm waiting, the LED lights, the components for them. If you noticed uptown, we got 4 street lights out on the street light poles. The LED components are in the shop, but I gotta wait for Earn Electric because you don't replace LED bulbs. So I didn't know that. You replace the electronic components that make the LED bulbs run. It's scheduled with Earn Electric whenever it gets in town.
That's it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Corey, do you have?
Yeah, sorry, I had issues emailing that for some reason. DDA had a busy month. We had public hearings regarding the rezoning request from Matt Gabris. Discussion regarding amending the zoning ordinance to add definitions of breweries and distillery. Discussions regarding amending section 501(3) of the zoning ordinance to permit breweries and distilleries is allowed in the village mixed-use district. So there's quite a bit, we had 30 to 40 people in attendance. About a dozen people spoke. There was a couple people that spoke that disagreed specifically with that. There's 2 out of the dozen probably that they had some issues with things. But there was no opposition to expanding the mixed-use district. The reaction of public opinion is overwhelmingly positive, and you'll see a recommendation, I think, on the agenda for tonight for that. So we can talk about that more later. During a regular meeting, we discussed the farmer's market. Pam Luce proposed reducing her salary by half in order to hire a second person to be a backup to her and allow her to more fully develop our farmer's market and then have somebody help run the day-to-day and have to be a backup for her. We're getting into programs such as WIC, Project Fresh, these low-income things, and not just anybody can step up and understand how all that stuff works. So with a lot of discussion, we've agreed with her and we're working at splitting that position into two. Not anymore as far as salaries go, but it's reducing her salary at her request in order to do this. And she suggested we try this for at least a year and see if that helps. There's a lot of work involved. So we'll be looking to possibly hire somebody very soon. And then we also discussed a downtown bike night for Central Lake. We're working on contacting downtown businesses, see who's willing to offer specials, live music, and in exchange for us advertising and creating a family-friendly downtown event. Hoping to have that on the go for mid-June through August. It was a weekly event. So hopefully to drive some traffic and some advertising for Central Lake. And then we also had previously had discussion with several businesses downtown regarding some parking related issues, and I see that's on the agenda for tonight too. We voted to request that you look at eliminating overnight parking along Main Street in order to remedy the situation. And then we also voted for officers. I remain chair, Tracy Zapolsky is going to be vice chair, Ryan Waters treasurer, Mary Clark secretary, Chris Carpenter and Diana Chang remain board members. Currently we have one board, one chair open, so for a village resident, if they wish to join the planning commission, be able. And that's the scope of what we took care of last week.
Very good.
I have copies of the minutes from the public hearing if anybody wants to view who agreed and who disagreed.
Anything else? Anything for Cory? Campground report, Lyle?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to be back, we've been busy down there, right now the park is open. We went to the new bathrooms today, and I'm sure Rob can tell you about that, and, fire pits are cleaned and grass is mowed and what have you, so we've had 8 or 9 campsites rented in the last 2 weekends, so. There's been 2 guys down there this week for the whole week, so
Good to have you back.
thank you.
Anything for Lyle? Correspondence? Michigan Public Service Commission sent us a letter saying, which we will post on our website, that if anybody has any issues with their video cable television service, there will be a address and a telephone number on our website by tomorrow that you can contact the Michigan Public Service Commission and talk to somebody about your complaint. So, and I believe that is all of the correspondence. I'll have a couple other things in my report. So, committee reports, Lyle?
In the pre-construction meeting today with Sam and Jennifer and Bob Tyler for the water main replacements. Looks like pending everything goes well for next week for Jennifer, things will be starting early next week, so with completion date September 1st. Other than that, I don't know.
Very good. Leila, sewer and water?
Sewer seems to be okay, water's doing pretty good. We did have a problem down at the park with the old line, and I think I'm gonna let Jennifer handle that because she knows all about it. It's part of your report anyway. Sorry to overload you, but I think that would be well. But Sam's been doing a wonderful job for keeping our water in good condition. I got to admit that no one else does the job he does for making sure that we have good, clean water and our lines are working good. That's about all I have.
And by the end of the summer, they'll be working even better.
Yes.
Bill, law enforcement?
I think Chief covered everything pretty well. We have been busy.
absent.
I can fill in for her, we had the meeting, April 17, myself, Leela, and Melissa. One thing we talked about was the village newsletter, but that's under new business, that'd be new business item A, so I'm not gonna be redundant. Discussion of an email list that would have all the people have a similar government issued email addresses. That's, a lot of people on the council don't really use email as a form of communication, so that's kind of a stumbling block. We're still working our way through that. And then the website, we just need to have a little bit better fluidity between Rachel and the communications committee, so that way we can better update the website, so that way we can get the information out there better. The blight brochure, like Scott said, we sent out all those blight ordinance violations. How many was there, Scott?
33 total.
33. There was discussion, do we need to make a brochure for those 33 individuals that don't understand the blight ordinance? And then there's two things, the cost of it, and again, is it necessary? Would it have helped those 33 individuals? Or is it, less than 1% we're putting out this brochure? So that's, again, would it be cost effective or not? And then old business was a text program. The school has a text program. If there's a snow day or something, parents get notified. We're thinking about doing that. We're implementing it. I think we already have implemented it. We have. And how many people are in that right now? 5?
If that.
5? Less than 5 people are using that to get a text to say if their water, something's going on with the water, something like that. And that's it. We're communications.
Brian?
The auditor was in last week, everything went good so far, so we'll be waiting on his report soon. He said he was more organized than last year, so that was good.
He told me too.
That's all I have, thank you.
Parks, Rob?
The North Street Trail, the 1.07 mile loop, we're going to talk about that in action item B, so I'm not going to go over that again. The 4 new bathrooms down at the campground, we're waiting on the occupancy permit on that. They started paving the road around that today, as a matter of fact. They pulled out the old pavement. Permanent docks, that's still with the DEQ, so it hasn't gotten out of the DEQ yet. Then after the DEQ, it has to go wait for the 30-day public review. And then the floating docks at the north end by the corner store, we're hoping to have those in a week after Memorial Day. That is it.
Okay, for my report, there was a Northern Lakes Economic Alliance luncheon on a week from Friday the 19th from 11:30 to 1:30. We were all invited. If anyone would like to attend, let me know. It is in Petoskey at the high school, the new high school football field. So, let me know if you want to attend. Last week I attended a seminar on brownfield properties, and the Environmental Protection Agency has some monies available to help communities, all communities, not just ours, but identify and then assess our brownfield properties. Yesterday I met with the DEQ person. Her name is Julie Lowe, and she has contacted me today to say that the DEQ has some of this money available, and if Central Lake would like to apply, she would be more than happy to help us try to obtain financing. And what it ultimately results in is a phase 1 and a phase 2 assessment, and there's absolutely no charge to us. All that we have to do is get the properties that have the potential to be brownfield sites to agree to allow them to do the assessment. there's at least probably 10 sites that could be identified. I think there's probably 5 or 6 that really need some attention. And essentially what it does is prepare us for the future. If you own one of these properties, you will know where it stands as far as the DEQ is concerned. They're not going to come in and tell you that you have to remedy the issues, whatever they may be. There may be no issues. But with those reports on file, if you own property or own one of these sites and you would like to sell it, you can say to a potential buyer, this is saving you $40,000 to $50,000. Here is the assessment. And they'll be familiar with it. They'll know what to do to remedy the situation. And I think it's just an excellent opportunity for us. So with your permission, I would like to pursue that.
I agree with that.
Again, we're not going to surprise anybody. We're going to ask everybody first, so everybody will be aware of what's happening. And if we apply and get the money, they will start this in August, which is incredibly short, so from what I've been told. There's a Michigan Economic Development and Developers Association Conference in Lansing. Next, the 16th, next Tuesday, I believe it is. And with your blessings, I would like to attend that if I can work it out. I'm not positive that I can make it. There is a fee of $185. So, and again, I haven't made that decision, but if anybody objects, I will stay home. If you don't object, I may not go anyways. And I think Brian said the auditor was here. He said we're in better condition than we were a year ago. And there's a few minor issues. Some of it is just timing, the way our software works and the way it gets reported creates an issue for them. It created it last year, it creates it this year. So it's something that we're aware of. We'll continue to work on trying to figure out a way to make them happy and keep our books straight. So other than that, we're in pretty good shape up to this point, though we are spending lots of money and they will be back next year because of our involvement with all these grants. So that's okay. We like them to show up. And that's all I have. Approval of the bills. We have prepaid to $71,050.17. Payroll of $5,837.25. Payables of $23,671.17 for a total of $100,558.59. Need a motion to approve?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Kevin,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Lovell,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Tyler.
Yep.
Hessy.
Yes. New business, village newsletter.
Oh, I guess since Melissa's not here, I can jump in here right quick. There's discussion about a village newsletter. It would be available online from our website, and basically what it would be is a synopsis from each department head. Each of us would submit a short paragraph to tell the folks that who aren't at the meetings or have access to the video what's going on. And in addition to that, Rachel would put something out there, Scott would, and also Sam. Again, it's somewhat redundant in that we're already doing it in this procedure right now, but it's another way to get information out to the people. There's some things. One, is it needed? Cost, because we are going to make 100 copies, and then distribution. And I guess a fourth one would be the effectiveness of it. So, and that's where we're at. And do we want to move forward with it, or do we want to hold off and open it up for discussion? And we're also discussing, do we want it quarterly, bi-monthly, that sort of thing, if we move forward with it. We'd have to decide how frequent we want to put this information out there, so. And that's where we're at under the village newsletter.
I think before I would want to move forward with it, I think a determination would have to be made as to how much time is going to be involved with it. We have tight budgets every year, especially in our general fund, which that's, I'm sure, where that will come out of. To dump something on Rachel's plate in more than what she has already, I think is a very questionable activity.
It would be Sam and Scott as well.
And Sam has Scott as well, and the interim review probably wouldn't like the competition.
It might be dead accurate a lot more often, to be honest with you.
It's okay. I was making a joke, but that's all right.
No, in fact, I might appreciate it.
I think it's quite redundant.
We already
Personally.
report this information 3 other places.
It's already available.
Yeah. I think we do a pretty good job, better than what we used to when I was here before, so.
Much better.
Yeah, not to say that something like that couldn't work, but we keep piling on projects, and that work has to get done, and along with everything else. And I just don't think at this stage of the game, I'm in favor of it, but if you guys want to pursue it, I'm open to listen to your, so. And we'll let her go. Recommendation from the DDA about overnight parking on Main Street. I will let Corey talk.
Well, there's been discussion amongst some of the business owners, and it's actually happening both ends of the street quite a bit, where you've got some of the residents up above that'll park along the main street overnight, and which would, in and of itself, probably wouldn't be so bad, except they're there till 10, 11, 12 the next day, or back at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the rest of the day. And downtown already has limited parking, where we have issues, people coming and going. In my specific spot there at Mission Computers and with Marie Leathers there as well. I've got little ladies trying to carry the computers into my shop, and they're having to walk from a block away to come down there. And, not to say that won't ever be a problem, but that just helps contribute to the problem. So, there are designated parking spots for a lot of the residents up above that are in back. They just choose not to use them during those hours because it's simpler to park out front. There's that, and then it's also happened down at the other end of the street, down in front of Tracy's business, on the Touch of Glass, where she's had some of the similar issues. And I've talked to people throughout the years about that, and it just may help curb some of our parking issue. It won't be all of it, but there'd be overnight parking on side streets, and there's plenty of those, and there is a large parking lot down by the post office, so there's places to park. It's just maybe not overnight in that strip along Main Street from. It would be from Cedar Street all the way back to, the downtown district, so whatever that is between Verizon and Morton's. That would be the Brook Street.
Okay, I would like to do a little homework on that before we make any decisions, so we
I'd like to see a little more input on that before we do anything with that.
but we appreciate the recommendation and we will pursue it, so. Move on to action items, recommendations for ordinance changes, ordinance number 1 of 2017. This ordinance is for the rezoning of property essentially from Cedar Street, which is north of the Blue Pelican, west of M88, through the Wash Basket property and the property just to the north of that, the north property line. There was a public hearing last week by the Planning Commission. They fielded the public's questions and concerns. They recommend to us to approve this change based on the information that they collected. Essentially what it is doing is expanding our potential downtown or business space or space for businesses, allowing commercial activity in what is now residential would become mixed use. It includes the west side of Main Street, M88, back through the four houses and the wash basket, and behind that, the storage buildings on the southern portion of this property, as well as the apartments and townhouses that are to the west of the storage buildings. So, this ordinance change also includes adding the definitions of a brewery and a distillery. This does not mean that a brewery or a distillery will automatically be approved. Application for those activities will still be required, and a review, I would assume, by the planning commission, as well as us, as well as the liquor control commission. And it's just, but it at least opens the doors to the possibility, and that's what the request was for. So if there is any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer. If there is not, I would entertain a motion to approve or disapprove, whatever.
I'd like to make a motion, we accept it.
I'll support. Then moved and supported to accept the change for ordinance number 1 of 2017-18, which revises the amendment of section 2.02 of the zoning ordinance. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried. Okay, item B under action items, approved bid for green space improvement project. This is for the 40 acres that's at the west end of North Street. We received 3 bids. I believe the council has copies of all of them. It was Crandall Builders, $96.60. Tri-County Excavating, $15,000. Sadik Contractor, $20,500.
Any reason why Crandall wouldn't be
None from my perspective. So there was some issues, but we cleared those up. So he is qualified to do it. So,
He did all 32 miles of Glacial Hill, so he's considered the guru of trail building. He did crush his foot, so he won't be able to start till after July 4th. But he has to have it in by September 30th. So.
My only question is on paragraph 3. I no longer maintain insurances, but if awarded the contract, I would carry the necessary policies to satisfy Central Lakes requirements. I would want to make sure that he does have the proper insurance before.
Yep,
he doesn't
Oh, yeah.
he's gonna get it and then forward a copy of it to us. I spoke to him on the phone already to make sure.
Yeah, he did a great job on Glacial Hills, so he knows what he's doing.
How long is it gonna be laid up with his foot?
Said after July 4th, so.
we need a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to hire Crandall Builders in the amount of $9,660 for the North Street Trail.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion? Since we're spending money, we're going to roll call it.
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Ruffles?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Eckert?
Yes.
Well, before we move on, let's make sure we're not actually spending money. We got a grant for $13,250. That's, yeah, we're not, no money out of pocket, so don't.
Make a decision on replacing sidewalk in front of the village market. Lyle, I'll let you.
I received 2 bids on replacing the sidewalk, the damaged bad sidewalk in front of the market and on the alleyway behind Adams Madams. And They do not include removal. Sam, I talked to Sam, and he will remove and dispose of the old concrete, and then one of these two reinstall the new concrete.
Are they gonna replace it with the same things that they used before in front of the village market?
No, they're going to actually install it a little differently, and we kind of decided that the cracks that's in the cracks are popping, and we think it's from the salting of it. You know, we need to do that for safety reasons. So once the crack do crack after 60 days of being poured, we will go back and caulk the cracks to seal them so water can't get down in the cracks, and then hopefully that takes care of the problem. That seems to be the only area that's really popping bad in the area.
It's nasty.
Yeah, and I think it's because of the salt that's being used, and you need the salt. I mean, you can't blame the grocery store for that, but, yeah.
I'll make a motion to award the bid to Dave Route Construction in the amount of $5,075.
I'll second.
And moved and supported, any further discussion? Roll call?
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Lovett?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Ricker?
Yes. Okay, resolution number 1, 2017-18, this is a budget amendment. It is because some reason the DDA money was budgeted for but was never transferred to. So this essentially takes care of that. It's something that the auditors caught, so we're we're presenting this in order to pass to make our budget correct, so. Is there any discussion? Any motion?
Make motion.
I'll support.
Been moved, supported, and no further discussion? We're moving money, not spending money. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Approve sending delinquent water and sewer bills to the county to put on the tax bills. That total figure is $8,926.34. And for the folks on the sewer that are still being assessed, the sewer charge sometime this summer, that will end. So our sewer assessments will no longer be necessary. Huh? They'll be done collecting. They'll still have sewer bill, but not an assessment. Need a motion to approve transferring these to the county?
I'll make motion.
I'll support.
And moved, supported, Chapman and Patton. To move the water sewer bills to the county. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, down to Gordy Frazier's bill for $10,959.20. And this is for the water main upgrade and improvements that we are going to start the end of next week. We had a pre-construction meeting at 4 o'clock today. Questions were raised and answered, and everything was looking pretty strong. So, Gordy Frazier's would like to get paid for their work up to this point.
We were also, just so everybody's aware, maybe I didn't get before, but finally approved through MEDC to add all of Lincoln Street also with the grant and fully utilize that amount from what you guys had approved from last meeting. But we went through SHPO and it's all clear to go, so you'll see more invoices for that too. But anyway, no, so it's a good thing.
Good, yes.
Just to let everybody in the audience know that we have close to a $750,000 grant to replace all but 600 feet of our water main that needs to be replaced. We will apply again next year for that balance. So this summer, up until September 1st, this has to be done. Starting the end of next week, there's going to be some streets tore up and probably some directional signs to take you places that you may not want to tour before, but fortunately, we're not big enough, so it's not going to cost you a lot of time to get around all of this stuff. So they're going to start with the alleyways that are on the project the end of next week. And then after Memorial Weekend, they'll start on streets. They will be idle around the 4th of July. We're not quite sure how many days we'll be down, but we'll try to minimize any activity around the holidays on the 4th. So by the end of this, we'll have the majority of our water line taken care of, and all of the streets that get tore up will all have pavement put back and black dirt and grass seed along the edges, and we're excited about it. Would we like to pay Gordy Fraser? Guess that's the question.
Need a motion?
Need a motion?
Okay.
Been moved and supported. Chapman and Lovelace. Pay Gordy Fraser's $10,959.20. Roll call.
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Lovelace?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Patrick?
Yes. We have another invoice from Gordy Fraser's, $1,495. This was for consulting services for the North Street Path project, and they helped us figure out what we were doing, and that's the bill for that.
I'll make a motion to pay that bill for $1,495.
Yes. Support? Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Chapman?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Lovelace? Tyler?
Yep.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jennifer, I just want to thank you personally for guiding me through my grant writing and taking all my calls in this frantic times and writing the grant, and then all those times. It really is appreciated to know that you, when I call and I'm panicked, you picking up the phone.
I don't have a choice.
I know. It's very heartening to know that you're really there for us. And we would have never gotten that $13,250 without you. I honestly and truly believe that. You just really guided us.
Thank you, it's a pleasure working with you. Very
That's
much.
all you can take there, that 10,000.
No, this one.
Different project.
I'm the little one. Which,
There's no old business. Is there any public comment? Yes, sir.
One more comment. If you ever do any construction around here for the city, I do not recommend the SIDOC group out of Saginaw. We just completed a new City Hall DPW complex, and we had all sorts of trouble with them. So anybody I can talk to, SIDOC can get the thumbs down. So I just want to pass that along.
And the last thing I have to say is we still have a $200,000 grant because of the Rising Tide project, and we're working on that. And we expect that will come forth, but probably no work at this stage until next spring. Unless we get lucky and we'll have our permanent docks in, because some of that money is going towards the permanent docks. Beyond that, thank you all for coming, appreciate it. Need a motion to adjourn? So moved. Been moved, support, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried, 45 minutes, there we go.
That was not a Shaker Heights City Council meeting. No.